keep by the ones who circle round to tend these. Hi there, my name is Tercy Engelhardt, and I want to welcome you to the Unreasonably Grateful podcast, Living in Grace by Choice. So, first of all, thank you so much for listening in or watching, being a part of this. I had a great conversation with a good friend who was here visiting, and she was sharing with me that her experience of the podcast now being hosted on Substack was it was just more alive and fresh. And I explained to her, I agree. I feel the same way. But partly because having taken out so many of the middle steps, I'm actually able to record very close to the release. And so that makes it fresh and current. And I love that. So, anyway, thank you, Hannah, for sharing that with me. I appreciate it. She's also working with me to create the intro music and the exit music so that I don't have to navigate that because it's something that isn't possible in the Substack format. So she's finding a way around it and helping me be able to do that. So let's see here. I actually want to welcome those people who are new. I knew there's some new subscribers, so thank you for joining us. I'd love to hear how you heard about the podcast or about myself. And you can always share in the comment section or in the chat section on Substack. And also, my email is my first name, Tercy, Terces, at my name, Tercy Engelhardt, ENGELHART.com. And I'm always happy to hear from you. Also on Tuesdays, I still do morning sessions where I get to sit and as an elder reflect to you what I see and what I hear from what you share. And it's such an honor to sit in that seat and be able to encourage you and perhaps guide you towards your next step. Again, I don't have your answers. I'm sharing tidbits of wisdom I've gleaned over my 39 years of recovery from living an addictive lifestyle, from struggling with healing from sexual abuse as a teenager, and then living with an eating disorder from 16 years old to 36. So this year, my 75th year is 39 years. So thank you, all of you, however you got here, those of you who have been with me for a long time and those of you who are brand new. So I'm actually getting ready to pack suitcases. I'm excited. I'm going to go visit my son and his family in Santa Cruz, California. And I haven't seen them for 2 years. I actually don't think I've ever gone that long without seeing them, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm recording this a little bit earlier this week so it can be released as usual on Sunday. And again, I just want to encourage you, if you know of someone that you think one of the episodes or the series of episodes or the podcast in general would be good for them, just send them a link and refer them, and I'll make sure I welcome them. Okay, so this particular episode's called I Don't Understand. And I don't know what that might look like for you. Like sometimes for me, that looks like, why am I feeling this way? I don't get it. Or I don't understand why that's happening. Or it could be about someone else. It could be about something. It also can be simply I'm learning something new and I'm like, I don't quite grasp it. I'm not sure I understand. And I want to encourage you that because so oftentimes we live in this mental state, like we live in the age of information where information is so readily important, available. You can just Google something and get the answer immediately. But there's something to be said about not knowing and not even needing to know. So if something comes up like, why did they do that? Or why am I responding the way I'm responding? If you're looking at your own personal recovery, and remember, recovery is about taking care of and looking at those things that intervene, that get in the way, the distractions of you being a vessel for unconditional love, that all of us could let more love float in and then through and then out of ourselves. And that to me is just the most beautiful opportunity that there is. And yet we all have blocks to that flow, blocks to let it in, blocks to let it go through, blocks to let it out. And a lot of what recovery is being able to identify what those blocks are so we can consciously choose to keep them in place or not. Because we have blocks in our life to keep ourselves safe, to fit within the constructs of our own mind, of the way that we think things should go, or the way that we know ourselves to be. And again, those are mental things. We think, we know. And not knowing is a valuable lesson. So I spent a whole year saying, I don't know to every single question that was asked of me pretty early in recovery. Today, I'll say things like, I'm actually not going to argue that point, or I don't think it's mine to defend that if ever I feel confronted. Or, I don't know, you should probably ask somebody else or somebody who's more informed about that. So there's lots of ways of not always having the answer. What happens when we always have the answer is we stay in our mind. And part of the healing process of letting love flow through is getting ourselves into our hearts. And when we say, I don't know, we move out of our mind. Because it's like telling the mind, you don't have to have the answer here. You don't have to show up. You don't have to make up something. You don't have to lie. You don't have to pretend you know. You don't even have to pull up the information that you do know, because you might actually know it. But it's just an opportunity to experience what freedom exists when we let ourselves take a break from knowing. So anytime you have this experience, like, I don't get it, I just don't understand why, then take a breath and just admit, I just don't know. I don't know, and I don't need to know. And it's okay to not know. And one of the great ways to practice is, like I said, is take on saying, I don't know, to every question, whether you know or not. Because knowing's not all it's cracked up to be anyway. And not knowing, it's like, taking a rest from exercise, or giving yourself a break, or going on a vacation. Like, give your mind a vacation and just be, I don't know, for a while. What will happen is you'll actually begin to see things through a different lens. You'll begin to see how things are actually coming together. And there's this comprehension of things unfolding naturally outside of you needing to know or impact something with knowledge or input something into it. You just step back. I don't know. I told someone the other day that I like to show up in places to discover why I'm there, as opposed to, I already know why I'm going someplace and I'm fulfilling on that, which can often mean I miss a whole bunch of what else might be possible. And so that's part of not knowing, is I'm going to go and see why I'm there. That's another way of staying in that inquisitive, not knowing state. Okay? So that's what I want you to take on this week. You can either practice saying, I don't know, to every question, or go ahead and do every other question, or, I don't know, give yourself the biggest break and see what you see when you step back a bit and you take a break from being or responding from a mental point of view. Okay? Can you do that? And I will see you next week, and I'll look forward to seeing you then. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. See you next week.